It's just been 3 days. 3 days after I announced that I would be contesting the Kajan by-election. We have got many viewers and my own readers and my friends and of course my enemies questioning whether I would be a suitable candidate for this election. And the main issue they raise is that I have no credibility, that I engage in flip-flopping, I have a weak character, I have no stamina. And I think it is important that I address these issues. Firstly, I'm not a perfect person. I have weaknesses. I do not portray myself, even though I'm a public figure, I do not portray myself with a certain image to fit the so-called critical public. I am what I am. But to accuse me of those is most unkind, of those accusations are most unkind, because I've always been consistent in the important things in life, in my political struggle. I have never wavered, I have not changed position. But let me address this issue of changing political parties. First, they said I was in UMNO. And then I changed to PKR. And then I changed to my own party, KITA, and now as an independent. Now, firstly, changing political parties is not exactly an extraordinary thing to do. It happens most of the time. People change parties. The important thing is they don't change the principles. As far as UMNO is concerned, I was there for 28 years. I endured suspension. I endured criticism for my views in Parliament as a Wakil Rakyat. I lasted 28 years with my contrarian views for the sake of change in the country. But when they sacked me, what can I do? So I joined PKR. Of course, it didn't last very long because I thought I was joining an organization, a political organization, that would defend those important issues that I believed in. Political integrity, process in the election must be clean. And because I couldn't get that in the party election, and because my own party leader casted aspersions on me, called me a Trojan horse, I have no choice but to leave. It's not sustainable. It's not possible. It's not possible for me to stay on. And then, of course, about my own party. I've already explained this many times. I thought I could raise money. I thought I could form a new political party, got a lot of support for my views. But after a year, I realized that it was difficult. And so I said, okay, I'll just speak as Zaid Ibrahim on my own capacity. I don't need a political party anyway. It was a mistake. But that's not a character flaw. It was a mistake. I overestimated myself and my capacity to raise money for this very expensive business called politics. So what else is the problem with me? That suddenly my credibility has become a central issue. What is it? What is it that I have said? I did not change my views, whether in UMNO or in Pakatan. When I was in Pakatan, they said I was a hero. They said this is a man of principles. This is the first time in the history of this country that a man stood by his principles and gave up his job as a minister. But the day I left Anwar, I became a villain. But I haven't said anything different. I've been saying the same thing. But I still continue. In 2.5 years since I left PKR, I was still supporting good policies, reforms, and I continue writing in my blog. Consistently. I've always been consistent. And then, of course, this election. And when they know that I'm going against Anwar, then it's immediately a bad boy again. So I accept that, that's part of politics, but I need to remind readers and people who follow me that there's no basis at all. The latest episode it concerns my so-called support for Anwar to go to Kajang, and then 2 weeks later changed my mind. I've explained this in my blog for those who care to read. Initially, I thought that the solution to the Pakatan problem in Selangor, the solution was to have this by-election. It was a decision made by all the 3 parties, and that's why when I wrote in that blog, I said, yes, if you have to remove Khalid, by all means. You have to support Anwar's initiative. But you must do the following. You must be together, you must speak with one voice, you must go and see the Royal Highness because this is a very delicate matter, position of Menteri Besar. I was giving this advice as someone who wants to see Pakatan Rakyat strong in Selangor. Unfortunately, this was now, a week after I wrote that, then I realized, like everybody else in the country, that it was a coup d'etat, it was a plan designed by some strategists in PKR to throw out the Menteri Besar and put Anwar there. It was never a Pakatan decision. DAP didn't know about it, and they admitted it. PAS didn't know about it. And that's when I wrote my second blog, and then I said, no, this is rubbish. This is not, you should not do this, because it will lead to the Pakatan Rakyat will be the solidarity, the unity about it will be tested. Because the choice of Menteri Besar is not so clear-cut. All the 3 parties have about the same number of seats. They'll be jockeying for the seats. Stability of Selangor will be affected. So this is a very serious matter. And so, of course, they now say, again, another flip-flop by Zaid Ibrahim, and therefore you should ignore him. So, but I think that's my explanation, and I think if I have to explain more, I will do that in Kajang. Please join me in Kajang to hear more of the explanation.